Good evening and welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Tonight we have Riki Rachtman. How are you doing tonight, man?
I am doing awesome. Today's good.
This is the first time seeing you. I feel like you should be saying, hello, welcome to Headbangers Ball. It's kind of
Welcome to Headbangers. And because I still, the thing is, like, it's all back, but I've still got all the hair. The hair is the 1992 hair is back, but it drives me crazy. So I just always pull it back now.
You live down south though, so it's gonna be hot too, right?
Well, no, I moved
summer.
I moved to North Carolina.
Oh,
it's going to get hot this summer. Yeah, I moved down to North Carolina about 3 years ago from Hollywood, and I love it here. I love it.
That's quite a change here. Like most people move to Nashville, or Vegas. Right. I haven't heard any North Carolina. Was that a childhood thing, or just it's kind of an interesting?
It's good. I don't want anybody else to come here.
No, it's good. Okay, it's a horrible place, people.
No. It's good that nobody else is moving here.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing.
I've been working in motorsports for a long time, and NASCAR is obviously so big in the South. And I thought that I'd come here and do more work with motorsports, but in fact, I have more time to focus on more rock and roll things. So now I'm in North Carolina just because, it's like living in Hollywood. You could go to Vegas or Phoenix, but that's kind of it. And here it's like I can go to Nashville, or I can go to New York, or I can go to Florida. It just seems like
I agree with you. North Carolina is beautiful. I've been there. I live
so pretty here, and
I live in New England, so I have seasons just like that. I have seasons, and I have Boston and New York between it.
What's the weather like right now?
Cold
for you. How cold?
Probably in the 20s right now.
Yeah, that's cold. That's ridiculous.
It was like 14 degrees, and then like 8 degrees. I say the two things I don't like in life are the teens, the age and the temperature. Once I get past those, I'm okay. Yeah, but I dig it. The seasons. It's got to be crazy going from like Hollywood to North Carolina, but I get it. It's got to be a nice break.
It is, except Hollywood today is. Even before COVID, Hollywood was it wasn't the same. Everything was dying. And then when COVID came and shut everything down, all my friends and family are still in LA, and, I'm constantly reminded of places that are shutting down and things closing. And it's so sad, but that's just the way things are right now,
Yeah. I used to want to go to LA, but I don't know.
It's not that great.
I like seasons.
There's nowhere to go.
There's nothing there anymore. I know.
No.
And now you're not even there. Everyone's in Nashville and Vegas and everything else.
Yeah.
Well, so we're going to talk about all the things you're going on here and kind of promote everything like we always like to do in the show. And people that aren't aware of a lot of your driving, your radio show, all I don't think everyone's totally aware of that. So whoever isn't, we're going to bring them to speed, even though you've been doing this for a real long time. Before we do that, and we're going to end on talking about the Headbangers. This show will end on that note. But you were the only other rocker that I've really known has really gone out there besides Stephen Piercy, like big into cars, and what I'm saying. Everyone's into motorcycles. Don't get me wrong. That's what I'm saying. But like with cars, really, did that start young or?
I've always loved cars. I never knew how to work on them. I always wanted to be a race car driver, and for me, it's almost like the same thing with Headbangers Ball. It's like I always wanted to be a rock star, and instead I made a living watching people do it. And the same thing happened with the racing. I always wanted to be a race car driver. I made a living talking about people doing it. I've always loved racing, and for me to get into broadcasting and racing, it wasn't that easy. It was much easier for me to get into rock and roll because I had a track record with the Cathouse and stuff like that. But racing, I said, hey, I want to work in NASCAR. I want to work in flat track, and I had to keep on trying and show people like that I'm the real deal, that I really love this. But while most people, were into baseball, football, basketball, I was always into NASCAR or motorcycle racing or drag racing or whatever. It's just what I've always loved. To me, it seems like of any sports that people that are into heavy music are going to like, it seems to me like you would like racing, because it's just like,
I would think that too.
Fast. I love it.
But it feels like, like back in the day, you used to hear a lot about, the rock and jock and this and that. I'm like, I don't know, man. I know a lot of musicians that really do that. It's really horrible. Usually like softball or something. It was always the worst. But I know like Vince Neil would do stuff, but it was like you and Stephen Piercy were like always something really gearheaded, like really heavy into it, more than
Vince Neil, however, really gave it a shot racing in Indy Lights. Vince Neil actually, probably more than any of the rockers, Vince Neil was really, really into racing. Rachel Bolan from Skid Row, really into racing.
Really?
Mark Morton from Lamb of God is a huge NASCAR fan. I mean, there's a couple people that are like really into racing that are into rock and roll, but it's only a few of us.
Well, and I mean, like out there, like doing stuff too, like really being
Yes,
on the track.
yes.
So I mean, I know Vince was in it for a while, and then I know things changed in the driving thing. But I mean, like you have always been in it. Steven still, I mean, I was always been in it. The
Yeah.
point of it's there, which is awesome. I mean, it makes sense. So you switched Headbangers Ball, good to relive everything, but like it changed after you good run there. And I think because you started off, you were a singer also before you were in the Cathouse, and you were doing kind of punk bands and stuff. So your evolution was musical, and you were, then became a good host. I think the strength of the host was you're more of a conduit between the two. Like it was real conversations, which is
Thank you.
important. And
That's what I
it's
try to do.
and that's actually kind of the goal of this show. Probably from watching you, I don't think I realized it until just now. Like, yeah, because it's just about talking. It's about finding the point. It's not about drilling. It's not about you get more out of somebody. It's fun. You should walk away fun. I feel like I get more from them.
Yes.
And I can look back and you can watch the things. And it's not about even being nostalgic. It's just like they're just good moments. I don't know what it is. So that is a skill you brought in that I think a lot of people didn't have, and that's why they all were out. I mean, I imagine you probably bring the same skill set carried over. It's probably harder to prove yourself when you went into NASCAR because you were an unproven commodity and it's a different audience. And I'm sure there's stereotypes you had to battle in the 90s, 96, 95, I think the show went right, 95, 96.
Something
Is that
like
when
that.
you had to make
Headbangers Ball ended in 95. I started working
right.
in racing in 2002 is when I started working in racing. And then I've been working with American Flat Track Racing in 2 years. This will be my second season starting in a week. And that's the same thing. I have to go out there and prove myself like, hey, there's a reason I'm here. I'm not here because I needed a job. I'm here because this is what I love to do. I love talking about racing. And when I go to flat track motorcycle races, I try to get up there and talk to the fans out there as if I was at a concert. It's just like, this is going to be, it's so incredible. And now we've got, driving the number 69 or whatever. It's just like, I treat everything as if it's a rock concert. I don't care what it is. I like to think of everything when I go on, if I'm doing spoken word or if I'm talking to people, I like to treat everything like it's just like rock and roll, like it's in your face and it's fun and it's upbeat. And that's because that's the way I feel. It's not like, hey, got to put on my upbeat rock and roll character now. It's like, this is the way I am. You put me in a room with 6 people, just you and I talking. It's the same thing. I'm just like, I am loud. I get excited. I have fun. And this is when I turn on and become Riki Rachtman, as opposed to Riki that's wearing sweatpants at home watching TV shows with my girlfriend.
Which is still a good thing. I think the transition is probably easy for you too. It's your personality. I mean, it shows on your Instagram and all your feeds how you are, and your girlfriend's hilarious too with you. She's pretty funny.
She's the best.
And watching you guys do the Riki ride thing is the last year, but kudos to you for all the years you've done. That's a really good thing. And it was very enjoyable too watching the video.
I would have loved if somebody would have just made that into a TV show. That would have been my perfect last job, is just somebody done a Riki's Ride TV show and just let Leah and myself ride motorcycles all over the world. I mean, we rode in France 2 years ago. I mean, we've done everything. And that's what I really like to do.
That could still be something you do.
Maybe I will one day. You never know.
You could still turn into something. It could be a fun thing,
Maybe.
There's a lot out there for you. That's right. So you're talking about, you said you have flat track racing. That's motorcycle, regular.
Yeah, it's motorcycles on the dirt, going around turns, sliding sideways. It's really a cool sport.
And now what do you are you talking to?
I'm the guy when you go to the race, I'm the guy that's talking to the crowd. When the riders win the races, I'm the guy that's up on the stage talking to them, talking to the crowd. I'm working on a show called Track Pass. It's on NBCSN, which is like the pre-race stuff. And I'm like the guy that isn't very I'm not very knowledgeable with stats. It's just like music. I don't care who the producer is. I just talk about the stuff that, oh my God, that was so awesome coming around there. You guys were, bumping elbows or whatever. Mm-hmm. I just like to be like the fan. I'm just like the fan with a mic. Flat Track calls me their hype man. So I guess I'll stick with that title. That's okay.
Okay. And so your other job, when you've been doing for 19 years, that one, what are you doing in that one?
That one, I write that Racing Rocks. I write every word. I edit all the driver interviews. It's a music radio show that's played on rock and roll stations all over America. And in between the songs, I talk about racing, and I'll have drivers, and sometimes the drivers, we won't even talk about racing. We'll talk about music, we'll talk about anything. But I've had all the biggest drivers in NASCAR and other types of racing on my show. And I mean, it's on radio stations all over America, and it's on mornings usually. I mean, you could be driving in your station in your city and turn on your local rock station, and here I am in the morning, Sunday mornings, talking about racing and then playing songs. It's great. And that show's been on for, I think it's about 19 years.
Okay. And for everyone who's listening, we'll put all the links underneath so everyone can kind of go check out everything he's been doing. So you were talking about the other podcast, like the Cathouse one. You've started some, you've done a bunch of them, a lot of fun. You slowed down a little bit now. Are you going to continue on, or are we in a spot where they're going to hiatus?
The Cathouse Hollywood podcast was a little bit more difficult because it was all history, and I didn't want to have new stories on it because I all wanted to be stuff about that happened during the Cathouse. What would happen is I'd put out a Cathouse Hollywood podcast, and then I would read in some of these metal social media posts like Axl Rose chases David Bowie down the street. I'm like, yeah, I know, because I was just talking about it because it happened right next to me.
Right.
So some
like
of the
20 years
most
ago, 20 years
notorious,
ago.
some of the greatest rock and roll stories that ever happened at the Cathouse. And we have the people that were there telling the stories. I'm telling the stories. Or the DJ was there when David Bowie's drunk in the DJ booth and the whole Axl thing came up. And, the people that were part of all of that are on the Cathouse podcast talking about that stuff. So it's really fun, and it was such a crazy time. And it's not an author, it's not a journalist telling these stories. It's me or the other people that were there, and
I like it. I've listened to it myself, but I'm
very, very proud of the Cathouse podcast.
For the audiences, I want everybody to know that doesn't know that it's a lot of fun. It's really good. So you're probably at a point where you're going to kind of on a halt. You got any more stories left, or?
Yeah, I've got one next. The next show that'll air is before the pandemic broke. I sat backstage with the band Junkyard, and we put the microphones on. And like, if Junkyard's a guest, that doesn't mean we're talking about Junkyard. We're all talking about backstage, and when we did a Cathouse Arizona, and we all went and we're just telling stories. And I just put the microphones on backstage, and hearing these guys, everybody's drunk, telling these crazy stories. And that's going to be fun. And that's going to be the next episode. And that just takes me editing it and putting it out there. And then there are, a bunch of other artists. I'm going to do another show. I've never really sat down and had a long conversation with Tammy, which is, so important. And we're really going to do that very soon. So, there's a lot.
So that'd be really good, because he is still kind of mysterious in a way. Like, he doesn't really have as much out there as you think he would. You know what I'm saying?
No, he's great. And Tammy is, and I'm not just saying this obviously because he is my best friend, but I think he's a little bit underrated as a songwriter. I think that his band Faster Pussycat got lumped in playing with shows with some cheesy type of bands that maybe they shouldn't have been. And I kind of wish Faster Pussycat was opening up for more current bands and taking earlier slots to play in front of a new audience, because I think they're good. I don't think they look like a retro band that was around from the 80s, even though they are. And they're good. They're just a good band.
I had Burn on. We were talking about too. I've had a bunch of guys on too, and like literally the difference from the first album to the second album is ginormous. Like, first, I love the first album, but the second album, like the sounds of it, it's like two different. Like, I'm like, where could have gone? Like, it was just like,
yeah. Like, I mean, everybody's like, oh, your favorite Faster Pussycat song must be Cathouse. I'm like, actually, no. Every time I do an interview, people play that song. I like The Power and the Glory Hole. There's that song, Number One with a Bullet, I think is on that album. That song is like not that old. I mean, and I love that song. I think Faster Pussycat's a great band.
I do too. I've listened to all the way through. I'm one of the people, I follow a band. I'm usually pretty much all the way through with a band. I'm, a little dedicated there.
Good.
I love when they do new music. So yeah, it'd be awesome if you do Tame Me. I got to talk to him one of these days. So that's out there. And the big thing is the ball, the show, the thing. Now, I know you've gone on talking about it. You've gone back and forth. You've promised things. You've said things all over the place. And I know there's a lot of crazy things to put things out. Are you going to do it on TV, or can you say yet, or on YouTube or video?
First episode is not going to be on YouTube. It's not going to be on television. It is going to be, I would love to say that an Access or VH1 or somebody picked it up, but they did not. But it was never, and to say that they didn't pick it up, it was also never pitched to them. I haven't pitched it to a network. I'm very I'm really kind of very hands-on with this, and I wanted to find somebody that could work with me that would help me. Like, I'll give them a list of videos and they work on getting those videos instead of saying this has to happen. You know, I think it's going to be much rawer and not as, you know, I could do, in my studio, I have a green screen right there. I could stand in front of a green screen with fire and explosions, and I could do that easy. Or I could shoot it in black and white with my phone, make it look like a horror film, and really emphasize on the video. There's going to be old, there's going to be new. And I don't want to play anything that's like on the radio now. I might have a guest pick a video. The thing that we're having the hard time is getting some of the videos. You know, some people might say, well, why aren't you playing that Iron Maiden video? And I'm like, because the record label won't give it to me. And I'm not using Iron Maiden as an example, because for all I know is I think I did get permission. I don't know. But there are certain labels, because I can't just take a video off of YouTube. I can't, because if I just do it like that way, they're going to shut me down. I don't want a video that's.
I can't. I get kicked for claims for just playing a video myself. It's a claim, not a strike, and it stresses me out. Just like unknown bands, I'm trying to get out there. The same thing. I'm just putting their bands out there. The band's not claiming anything. We're just putting it out there to play it before their interview, and I'm getting hit with copyright stuff.
Yeah, so, it's crazy. It's like for Riki's Ride, there was a song that I always used as a theme song for Riki's Ride, and it's "Do You Want to Rock" from Danko Jones. And I said, this is going to be the theme song. This is such a great, I love the lyrics. And I put it on, and I told Danko, I'm like, dude, this is the theme song. Next thing you know, it's taken off. I'm like, do you know that your song got taken off? It's like, you know, for Code Orange, I want to have Code Orange video on the ball. And I'm talking to the guys in the band and they want it. You know, it's like, it's actually not that easy to play a band's video. And
no, you're gonna list from CD Baby or something. I just got something from another band similar to the same situation. Literally, I got like a bunch of them in my mailbox today. I was looking before we talked. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so crazy, but I'm doing my best, and I've got a good list of old and new right now. And I'm just waiting to be able to tell you, like, what's going to happen is I'm going to find out when I can tell you when I can tell you. When I announce when it's going to be on, it's going to be on a live platform that will be like a live chat, and I'll be there. Okay, everybody, here's the deal. The ball is going to be on this day. And I know that this sounds like stuff that's so far in the future, but I'm really thinking that I will be making an announcement pretty quickly, and maybe even in a couple weeks, telling you when it's going to air. And then it would air like 2 weeks after that. There's no talk about episode 2, 3, or 4. I just want to do one show and say, like, hey, all you other guys that are hosting these metal shows, you're all good and everything. And everybody did. And Eddie Trunk does a great job, and Jose does a great job. And I got mad respect for both of those guys, but it's like, I'm the guy that hosted Headbangers Ball, and I'm going to show you my metal show. Not to use the word metal show. The reason I keep on saying heavy music is because the word metal is so bizarre, you know?
I know it is. And that's why you're the person, you're the only viewer I've had on the show, because that's, I go back to you. I'm not fanboying. That's just the show I like, because it was who you are and how you host is just real. I mean, you know, there's no radio thing to it, sell to it. You know what I mean? I'm going to say one thing. I just want to go back to the one thing you talked about, the copyrights. I'm going to tell you a funny thing. Stephen Blaze from Lillian Axe has his songs, right? And he does this little Facebook thing. He's playing some songs. He was playing one of his songs, and because he didn't have rights to that, he was actually told by Facebook he couldn't, Facebook or YouTube, one of the places, he couldn't play that song for copyright reasons. His own song, acoustically, for like a Facebook thing. Isn't that insane?
The Triple R, if you ever listen to my podcast at Triple R, the music is like, and that's Mark Morton from Lamb of God playing every single instrument, and he gave me the song. So it's like a song that's never been heard, and it's our theme song, but I can't get in trouble because I'm the only one using that song, and he gave it to me. So that's why I can't use like licensed stuff.
Yeah, it's insane. It is. Yeah, I wouldn't use any crazy fire in background either. Just to you, too.
Oh, it's gonna. I'm thinking like, think Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Blair Witch Project, Black and White, Gritty. I'm just talking for a little bit and going into video. You know, I don't need to waste a lot of time, and I'm not gonna. You know, if I have guests, I don't really want to spend time talking about, you know, the production, inspiration, how you got your name. I want to have fun and do conversations and talk to find out about who these people are, not, you know, what the process is. I don't care about that stuff. You know, if I see somebody that I think is a cool person talking, I might want to listen to their music. And if I see somebody that acts like a jerk, I might not listen to their music. You know, the emphasis is the music and the people that put out this music. But right now, for the ball, the emphasis is really the videos. It really is. And there's some bands making videos these days, you know. I mean, the problem is we have rock stars, but they're just not the music we like. You know, you have the MGK or Post Malones or Youngblood, which might not be my cup of tea, but those are the rock stars, because the other rock stars aren't doing anything. And I need to show that we've got bands out there that are current, that are putting out great videos, and I want to give them to everybody.
I think it's good marketing, because I think our age group out there too, I'm similar to you, a little bit younger, but I'm 50. Everyone can afford things and do things. I mean, they want it. I mean, it's out there. I mean, this is Stephen Pierce is doing his show. That's going to be out there soon.
Yeah.
There's a market for it, you know?
Yes, I think so.
You know, as far as picking the bands, what's the process are you doing? Because I know it's going to happen. You're going to get hit by so many artists.
Let me tell you something. I already had somebody give the show a bad review. Okay. I've never made the show yet. It's going to suck and you're going to play this. It's like, here's the thing. It's not Riki's show. So if it was, it'd be a lot of bands that most people have never, ever heard of. Mm-hmm. And 5 Motorhead videos and an Iron video on Mega.
That'd be pretty awesome though.
But yeah, that would be good. I agree. That would be
I would like that too. Some MC5.
There's our show. But I want people that might not be into a band like Municipal Waste to see the video and go, oh my God, this newer band is playing old school thrash.
Yeah, right. They do.
Or somebody that's really into a band like, you know, Lamb of God, saying, wow, I never saw that video from Faster Pussycat or whatever. I mean, it's mostly going to be heavier stuff. And we are going to throw some old Headbangers Ball stuff in there as well. But as far as bands that are submitting videos to me, like already, and I'm like, I'm not going to be playing new bands as of now. And this is only one show that I'm planning because, you know, what I want is I want so many people to watch this show and love it. Let's be honest. I want people to watch this show. I want people that love the music to watch a show. And if I hit you with 3 new bands, chances are you might not be into it as much as you might be if all of a sudden I played a video from, you know, Power Trip or whatever, you know, anything.
Right. No, I get that. I mean, the reason I ask, it's funny because once you have some kind of platform for music, you get hit with so much stuff. Like at this level for me, which is so small, you not believe the amount of music I get hit with every day. I can't handle it. There's just too much of it.
But it's been like that for me for 6 years before I started Headbangers Ball. You know, when I opened the Cathouse, everybody wanted to play the Cathouse, and I've always been very, very picky, and everybody knows it's very picky. So when I was on the Headbangers Ball, and if I said I like this band, which seemed like I said that a lot, it's because I really like this band. And when there was a video that I didn't like, I just didn't say anything. So when there was a band that I like, it's like, I love this band. It's because, I just played 3 videos that I think suck and I couldn't say anything. So
I get that. It's why I have my show. I have people on the show because they're people I want on my show. It's not because I'm not fanboying. It's like, no, because I like you. And that's why you're here, because I like you.
If you weren't a fan, it wouldn't be interesting. You know, you got to be.
Well, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I just saw, like, for an example, be Bruce Dickinson in an interview somebody did to him one day. They go, oh my God, the question was like, you're the best singer in the world. How do you feel? That's fanboying. Bruce Dickinson's like, thank you. Like, what do you do with that? That's not a question.
That would probably be the worst question. I was always wondering, like, what would be the worst question to ask? That would probably be the worst question to ask. You're my favorite. You're the best singer in the world. How do you feel?
I look at Bruce Dickinson's eyes, like you can see like Nero, you know, Rome burning or something. Like, it was just crazy, right? Yeah. I cringed. I'm like, oh man, that's just so hard. But no, I mean, he's a fan, but you know what I'm saying, fan voice when you just get too ridiculous about it. Right. So Riki, let's talk about the Cathouse, the website you have, the shirts that only you can get them at the website.
Anything that has to do with Cathouse, the only place you get it, period, is cathousehollywood.com. There's other people that sell. I've seen some things on eBay. I mean, I've seen shirts that were honestly, I've seen Cathouse shirts that were $300 that aren't even real Cathouse shirts. There's no stores that carry my stuff. Everything that I have is cathousehollywood.com. It's all the top quality. It says Riki's Private Reserve in the label. And I'm very, very proud of that brand. I'm really proud of it. I think we've
You
got
should.
great stuff, and now that I've got, the local musician Abby K is working for us. So now people buy shirts and they get them right away, as opposed to me doing it and getting distracted and moving on to something else. And people are like, where are my shirts? I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I rode my motorcycle to Tennessee. Now it's like people buy stuff, they get it right away, and it gives me time to also create new merchandise and new apparel, which we're coming out with new stuff all the time.
Very good. Okay. Well, then the last question I want to ask you is, how's your guitar playing going?
I think I play my guitar a lot. I'm not very good, but I'm really enjoying it.
Now, let me tell you something. I am 50, and I only started playing a few years ago. I would just go for production, whatever, and I changed life, whatever. But I sang in bands, whatever. Really, my kids played instruments. A couple years ago, I'm like, you know what? I'm finally gonna sit down and play guitar. I was like 46 or 47. Got my first guitar. Once again, I'm not very good either, but I love playing it. It's the best.
And Leah will come home and I'll be playing some songs. And the crazy thing is I got this beautiful guitar, beautiful Slash Les Paul. And I've also got this old acoustic guitar, and I'll walk around the song playing the acoustic guitar. And she's like, Riki, you're playing songs now. And it's amazing. If you know 4 chords, there's a lot of songs you can play.
There is.
But, so I'll look and I'll learn another chord. I mean, now I have calluses on my fingers. And the truth is, I really like it. And I love it.
Good. I'm glad, because you were at one point you were like, oh, I got to learn. I got to sit down and do it. So I'm glad. That's a good note to end on.
Yes.
Right. We will be looking for your things. And when you put your information out, I will put it out on social media too about your show.
Good.
Right,
I had a good time.
Thank you.